Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and happy Monday. Another week closer to the start of the season. Everyone smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. We're going to be chatting a lot today because there's a lot to go through and a lot to discuss, and everyone will have, you know, opinions and stuff. So we need to have a chat about that. And I've seen a comment come in, and I want to flash it up. It's from Moth. Big up Moth. Bipolar Joe. Last night you were saying you weren't worried, and now you're saying we're in a crisis. The Leeds way. I posed the question, are we in a crisis? I'll give you my thoughts on it, but listen, I am up and down at the minute because I don't know what's going on. Last night I tried to see the rationale behind these loan deals for players like Christensen, for players like Aronson, probably rooted in the fact that they're poor. They're poor for me. But let's say they weren't poor. So when you actually sit and deep it, let's say they weren't poor and they were amazing last season and we still got relegated, we'd be fuming. I think at the minute, I'm sort of okay with these loans because it's players that I'm not really that fussed about, that I don't see having a long-term future at Leeds United, regardless what division we're in. But then when you start to hear that a lot of these players have these clauses, and that Leeds United as a football club are starting to be worried about all these clauses, then I start to think, oh, damn, like, what if Adams has got one? Because it seems to be the players that were signed this season, doesn't it? But then again, no, it doesn't, because Koch had one and Llorente's got one. It seems every player since we came into the Premier League might have this clause, which is worrying, because it's okay to say, someone said early on Twitter, oh, it's okay because we get them off the wage bill and then we protect the value, which I agree with to an extent, but it needs to be capped. It can't be every single fucking player. That's my worry at this point. Because not only these, the sharks are circling. Jaws' teeth are out. Because best believe, if this is out there in the public domain now, which it is, then clubs that might hold an interest in certain players might say, listen, do me a favour, check what the situation is with him. Oh, yeah, he's got one of them relegated. Right, we're in. Orta, Rads, and Kinnear, because he's also involved in this, and also the 49ers, because they had a 44% stake. Okay, they might not be privy to the contracts, so I don't want to throw too much shade. We're still waiting for a manager. He's very, very quiet. No one knows anything. I thought we'd start to hear something. The fact it's 1:15, it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak. I know we're waiting on the EFL. But just give us something. I know you like to move in silence, but give us something. And it looks like we've had some resemblance of propaganda, is what I'll say. And that's come from the YEP. I'm not digging the YEP out. I love Graham. I love Joe Donoghue. I love the YEP. I love the work. But what I'm saying is it's rhetoric that's been put out by the club to say, oh, yeah, you know, we're not worried because no one's approached Nonto and we want Adams and we want Harrison and we want these players. But when you're realistic, what if these players have these clauses? Harrison's got a relegation release clause, which will be exercised. And even if he says, yeah, I'm up for staying, which I don't think he will, and someone triggers that release clause, they're allowed to speak to him, at which point they can say, well, we'll give you more money, mate. Do you want to come? Do you want a season in the Championship or do you want to play in the Premier League? He's choosing the Premier League. Same with Nonto. Same with Tyler Adams. I know the club and the 49ers were quite big, and I believe Tyler Adams was, okay, maybe. I like the place. I like, you know, the welcoming that I've got, etc. But when Aston Villa come a knocking, when Brighton come a knocking, who have got European football next season, you ain't competing with that. You know? I think the only ones He might keep Melly here. No one wants him. And he was signed a couple of years back. So you know, and had an extension a couple of years back. It might not have that clause in. Did he sign a new deal after we finished 9th? They probably didn't think they needed to put these clauses in. I'm not sure. But it's a little bit worrying at the minute. I want you to all get your comments in. We'll chat about it. Yeah, it's mad. I get the whole... It seems like Victor Orta, who will be the key man in drafting up these contracts, probably along with Angus Kinnear. Radwazani wasn't here enough. He left people to do the job that weren't capable. And I just can't believe the situation we find ourselves in at the minute, because I understand, like, it sounds mad because it was only yesterday I was tweeting and saying that it's not that big of an issue. But now the real issue for me is how many players have got this clause? How many players have got this clause? Because everyone says, well, if they don't want to be, like, don't go along with that rhetoric. They've got lives, the Premier League footballers. I never understand that rhetoric of, well, if they don't want to play for the club in the Championship, they should leave. Boot them out. It doesn't work like that. It's a business. They've got families, etc. But how many players? So those that say, oh, they're not here, they're not up for the fight, let them go. Listen, it could be half the squad. It could be half the squad. It's looking bleak. Because at the minute, right, we need surgery anyway, but it's gone from light surgery to like open heart surgery. Do you know what I mean? We're under the knife. We're getting a full tummy tuck. It's that kind of vibe. We're not just going for some new teeth. If all these players leave, we're going for a full tummy tuck, the full job, hair transplant, the lot. We're going for a trip to Turkey. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Because there's too much. There's too much that potentially could go. But like Carl's just said, it is all paper talk. But that's all we've got to go on right now. That's all we've got to go on right now. But it's clear to me that someone at the YEP has contacted the club, and then they've been given some positive things to say as well. Works both ways. Jamie says it was always going to be a big rebuild, Joe. Admittedly, yeah, I agree with you. But come on, man, we don't want. We need some players. Is what I'm saying. We need some. Do you know what I mean? Nicola, it's a passing comment. I am bipolar, Joe, but it's a passing. I don't care if they all go. Well, obviously, I do, because we need some players. Do you know what I mean? Players return in 6 days. Listen, don't buy into this rhetoric that the EFL are trying to ruin our season. They're ruining us already. They're not doing that. It is what it is. Like, it's taking time for whatever reason. See, this is the thing, right? This is the thing, Dr. Cox. I said this when we did the keep, sell, buy, loan thing, right? All the players that we said, we probably said, no one wants. This is the fact. So we're going to be left with the Bielsa squad, his first season, whoever they might be. Oh, come on, don't be sad, man. Listen, I get it. Oh, we were there and we used to say feels. They're not doing that. Oh God. Right. Let's get stuck into some stories. Right. The positive thing is, we believe up to this point, Willie Gnonto doesn't have one of these release clauses. He doesn't, because there's talk of transfer bids from the likes of Everton and Palace. That's a positive. Okay. It's probably because Willie Gnonto, wage-wise, will be on next to nothing, and also his value was next to nothing when we brought him in. If I have a look at Willie Gnonto on Copology, which again, you know, I've seen some people quoting wages and that online, and I'm like, yeah, you're so far wide of the mark. But if we look here, Copology, again, it's not verified, but it won't be too far from. Willie Gnonto is one of the lowest earners in the football club, as you can see here. And he's still got 5 years left on his deal. So it's clear that we're all, and you can tell that from the stories, and you can tell that from the press, because those that are linked, your likes of Everton, your likes of Palace, they're talking about transfer fees. Yeah, that's a positive. On the flip side, we know Llorente, we know Robin Koch, we know Rasmus. I'd argue Rocker's probably there as well, although that's not been announced yet, but he's going on loan, so you'd argue that's the same. Brendan Aronson, he's been approached by Fulham. Fulham are yet to ignite or trigger that clause that allows him to leave, because I don't think they're willing to pay 100% of his wages up to this point. That's according to the article. And like I say, Brendan Aronson does have the verified tick. This has been verified by Capology. You can see here he's on 45k. 45k. Depending on if he's got this 50 to 60% wage reduction, and then that reduces, and then Fulham are willing to pay 100%. Someone said to me on Twitter earlier, the devil is in the detail, right? We don't know if that's going to include loan fees, etc. We need a piece by The Athletic. We need someone who's going to go in there and find the actual nuts and bolts of this story. And I have no doubt they're going to be doing that, because the YEP have spoke to the club, and as always, we would never wanted Brendan Rodgers, or we're never interested in this player, we want all these players to stay. I understand they have a contact at the club. They're not gonna come out and go, yeah, we are really worried. We're really, really worried about all these clauses. Whereas someone like at The Athletic, they have a little bit more license to report what they want. The YEP sometimes would have to toe the company line, I'd imagine anyway. But that's, I can only take what I see from that, right? And that's my opinion, because it's like all this negativity's come out, then all of a sudden we get a piece that says we want all these players to go. So yeah, we'll go through that piece anyway. It starts with Gnonto, just chatting about Gnonto, obviously he scored, etc. Let's just see. Right, okay. So I'll just quickly share this piece. So this is that's just come out from the YEP. So it says, back in England, Gnonto has been making more headlines for transfer matters than his Euro 21's performance, with a number of clubs reportedly making plans to prize him away from Ellen Road. Everton are among those to have been linked, but the YEP understands Leeds have not received any expressions of interest or bids from elsewhere yet. I would say yet, okay? Likewise, the club insists they have not received no bids for centre-back Charlie Creswell, despite reports to the contrary. Apparently, Rangers were sniffing around him. It's a mad one, because Leeds United were willing to cash in on Creswell last summer, you know. Trust and believe. The players like Creswell, etc., were offered out. Rads was trying to get some coin in, I tell you that much. Gnonto is among those identified as a key player for the upcoming championship season by incoming 49ers Enterprises. The Italian, along with Tyler Adams, Jack Harrison, and Max Fober, 49ers Enterprises hope to be able to convince them to stay this summer. Do you think we can? Do you think it realistic to be able to? I mean, if we were to start the season, right, with Tyler Adams, Jack Harrison, Max Fober, Willie Gnonto, Charlie Creswell, we're going to be fine. But if we're being realistic, Jack Harrison's not staying. Tyler Adams, I thought maybe would. Now I'm a little bit reluctant, just because of the clubs that have been linked. Max Fober potentially, but it wouldn't surprise me if listen, if Rasmus Christensen, if Brendan Aronson have got this clause, best believe Max Fober has. So this is the thing. We need to hear from them. I'm sorry, because like all it's like a vacuum, innit? If there's no news, you create the news. And the news has come out, and rightly so for me. Everyone's starting to be worried. Everyone's started to be worried. So yeah, but you can't do this, Matty. This is what I'm saying. You have to be realistic. We can't just go, oh, there's 100 grand a week. I'm not going to sign new deals, are they, in the Championship? Only ones are like youngsters that'll sign new deals. You then got to factor in we need to keep Cody Drama as well. Like, how's that going? That's a big thing. Yeah, exactly, Jamie. This is the point in it, and this is the flip from last night to tonight. Because last night I was looking at Rasmus, I was looking at Aronson, thinking about Llorente, thinking about Roca, not concerned. But then we hear, and this is over from Di Marzio, over in Italy, which is a reputable journalist, you know, and he's reporting. And big up to Andrea, who's been keeping us all up to date with the Italian side of things. Being an Italian man, he's able to, you know, translate, etc. But I just want to share this piece, and this is the worry for me. So obviously this is talking about the Llorente and Rasmus Christensen deal on Di Marzio. But this is the worrying bit. Leeds are badly metabolizing. I actually had to check a thesaurus because I was like, that word doesn't work in English. So digest, break down, dissolve, consume, something along those lines. So Leeds are boldly or badly trying to come to terms with the situation, I would say, that many players in the squad want to leave by taking advantage of a clause that frees them on loan after relegation to the Championship. It's almost like the 49ers and co were like, shit, is this really a thing? If, like, digest, consume, come to terms with the situation that they find themselves in. And that's what's coming from Di Marzio, okay? Does say Roma therefore want to resolve it in a more diplomatic and friendly way as they are doing for Llorente. Well, that's good because it's good to have positive relationships. Maybe we can come to some sort of better terms than just saying he's going, because they might want to take him permanently in future. So then you have to iron out the, you know, like I said earlier, the devil's in the details. But on face value, like looking at it, you're a bit like, oh my God. Like, and if Roma know, then everyone else knows. And then before you know, we're all in the shit. I think look, at the minute, I am worried. The reason I'm worried is because what if it's more players? What if it's Adams? What if Adams can walk out of this football club on loan for a season and just paying his wages? That's it. That's mad for me, for someone of his quality. I understand. But then again, this is the thing, isn't it? This is the thing. I'm okay with Rasmus and Aronson because I think they're rubbish. But let's say their transfers would have worked out. We'd be going, we're letting Rasmus go for nothing. It's because he's not been good. And same with Aronson. So that's why I'm okay about it, but I shouldn't be okay about it, really. But I was yesterday because I was like, it's fine. They go out on loan. I mentioned the Weghorst thing. They go out online, you know. Yeah. I don't agree with this sentiment as well. I don't agree with the rats jumping ship kind of thing. Listen, the players have that clause in their contract. They were probably offered that clause and probably told, right, you take a 50 to 60% wage reduction, and as a kicker, we'll let you leave on loan. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. And can you blame them? They've been relegated and then Roma's coming and knocking. You're going to take that. We have to sometimes realise that these players don't have Leeds' best interests at heart. Players that did were players like Calvin, for example, who stayed a year and got us promoted. Players that did were... I look at Charlie Creswell, he was getting offered everywhere. Trust me when I say, I believe the source that he was getting offered everywhere. Much like the same croppers like Leif Davies, etc. They were getting, you know, take it, and no one were willing to take that. I mean, they're mad for not, but here's what it is. He stays, hopefully. But yeah, it's mad. Yeah, Gabe, I can't either, but the point I'm making is, what if he's got one of them clauses? This is the point, isn't it? What if he has one of them clauses? You know, and if he does, then we're right to be worried, because we could see loads of them leave, and that's not good. That isn't good for us, is it? Katie says, got to hope 49ers bringing someone who knows how to write a contract that actually helps us out. Yeah, exactly. And I would imagine, listen, I don't know how structures work, but Angus Kinnear surely was involved in these contracts. You know what I mean? I love this from LUFC data, by the way. I think it's a perfect representation of the situation. Just one sec. It says, Orta, last thing before I go, remember the bunch of relegation release clauses we signed off? Yeah, they may well pop up soon, but it's all in the handover email. The guy shafted us. But it's not only him. Like I say, Angus would have been involved. The powers that be sign off. And also the 49ers had a 44% stake in the football club at the time. You know? So this is the thing, isn't it, Furphy? I get loaning players, but we can't loan them all. We've got to have some. And as good as it is, the club coming out saying we want to keep Adams, Harrison, Voba, and who else was it? There was one more. Nonto. You have to be realistic and think, can we? No. We're not even talking about relegation release clauses, mate. So I don't know what you're bringing in there. We're not even talking about that, pal. So Seddy Williams, a little bit off piece. 4-2-3-1 if we're going to play Farker ball, mate. Definitely. And look, someone like Adams, he's replaceable, you know. He is replaceable. Because I've said before, I don't actually think he's that great on the ball. His passing needs work. So you can replace him, but it's harder to replace him if you're not getting a fee for him. Because admittedly, we are, and of course we would get a fee further down the line and he's allowed to leave on loan and his wages are off, etc. But again, this is just guesswork because we don't know that's the situation with Adams. But he is replaceable, but we have parachute payments and some capital willing to be put into the club. That's not going to buy a whole new squad. You need to have some. You need to recoup some of the players. I mean, looking at it now, we need 2 keepers. We need 2 keepers for me. 2 keepers. Because I don't see Robles being a number 2. If he does, that's fine. We might have to just start him because we might not have enough money. This is what I mean. This is when it becomes priorities then instead of being able to properly rebuild. But we need 2 new keepers. Hopefully you can convince Drama to stay, otherwise you need another right back. Centre-backs, you got Creswell, maybe Voba, but that's a big maybe, or Strauch. Leo Hjelde, potentially. Left back, we don't have any. Where's the stories about Firpo? I told you at the time, whenever I see Fabrizio Romano tweet out about this football club, I believe it's come from those powers. And this was when Radrazani and co were still at the football club, before the ownership had gone through. Whilst Rad was deciding whether or not he'll stay, the Firpo story got put out. For me, alerting people to him being available, because we haven't heard nothing since. Not a jot. And we got from Fabrizio, many clubs are after him. That's what he said in the tweet. Many clubs are after him. Where, when, who, what, wow, how. I believe that he was a bit of a piece for the club. And since Rads has sold up and gone, we've very rarely heard anything, and we were told. So that's what I'm saying. You've got to move Firpo on. You've got to find him a club. Is Leo a left back? Can Leo play further? Be involved in attacks as much under Fark? I'd say we need 2 new left backs personally. Midfield, we've got Darko JB. I expect to have a great season. Same with Archie Gray, although he could do with developing more, but I'd like him to develop at the football club. And I think with Daniel Farke, you have a manager that's going to promote youth, so we're okay in that department. But again, we still need bodies. You probably keep Forshaw around the place. You need some additions in there. We've been linked to Jason Malumbi, box-to-box midfielder, can score goals, play a number of positions. He's a perfect fit. Do you bring him in? Wingers, Somerville. Probably when he finishes the under-21s tournament, his agent's going to go, yeah, you've got loads of offers from Germany, from Holland. I think he'll leave. Because you could see him going to somewhere like Feyenoord or PSV, back that way, for sure. Because he's shown enough now to go be a player in the Eredivisie for me. Even German clubs might take a look at him. They like bringing in young prospects. Nonto, I think there's just going to be too many suitors. Cine, again, top player. People want him shocks, but he's a top player. So he goes. So then what in the wing areas? You've got Mateo Joseph, Perkins, etc. But I really like Mateo Joseph. I want to see him given a lot more minutes, but it's a lot tougher than just being able to blood these and still be competitive, because Leeds United need to be competitive. And up front, you've got Bamford, who cannot be relied upon and shouldn't be the number 9. Listen, I know people will disagree. I get him still being at the football club. It's quite... A point was made the other night by Andrea Russo, who said, if you look at Norwich, when Farke was there and Pukki was scoring the goals, behind him was Jordan Rhodes in the first season, and in the second time they were down there, it was Jordan Hugill. A different profile, older, doesn't play as many minutes. Bamford fits that for me. And no one's going to take Bamford. That's the facts of it, isn't it? So yeah, it's going to need a lot of work. Mate, I'd snap your hands off. I'd snap your hands off for a loan. Yeah. Rutter as well, I forget. But again, Rumsey. This kid could have a loan. He could have 100% loan release. You don't know, do you? Yeah, but you have to, again, we have to sometimes think and try to be realistic and try to be objective. For me, he'll stay because no one will want him. Joseph, whenever he's played in the first time team, has played off the left and can play off the left, but yes, he's a striker as well. Cine wasn't a flop for me, not a chance. Not a chance. Let's have a look. I mean, if we could get money from Saudi for any of these players, yeah, fair enough. But big up Georgie. It'll be Daniel Farke, I think. We're just waiting for the announcement. Waiting for the announcement, aren't they? But it's not looking good right now. Of course, I'm not concerned with getting the manager, but just in general, it's looking looking bleak. Just concerned about who's got these loans. You know, who could potentially leave. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Let's have a look at some of the other news that's out there. No, well, Matthew, I think the manager's already here, in effect. He's already agreed. And these situations will have been put forward to the manager before he signed on the dotted line. So, I think that's already sorted. They're just waiting for the EFL. There you go. Robbie Keane's got a job at Maccabi Tel Aviv. He's gone to be a manager. There you go, then. Getting in the spotlight as a coach at Leeds United has done him the world of good. I know he helped over in India and stuff in the past, but yeah, he's got a job at Maccabi Tel Aviv. Let's have a look. 49ers Enterprises and Leeds United new manager are working on a transfer. This is the Joel Pirot stuff, but that Joel Pirot stuff came from a journalist that's not... Listen to me now. Alfonso Licordia. Nah, he's not a guy. He's not a guy. So don't get involved in that. According to reports, Leeds United target Amid Diallo would prefer to return to Championship side outfit Sunderland if he leaves Man United this summer. Someone mentioned that yesterday as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there with him. Let's have a look. Again, this is just reporting that Leeds United's a stance on Willie and co leaving, but again, you can say it. You can say it. Like I can say, you know, I'm going to get to 100,000 subscribers, but actually doing it's a different thing, right? So like the club can come out and say, we're going to keep Willie, we're going to keep Adams, and, you know, give us some propaganda, something to go on. But yeah, good lad, Ash, but not a journalist, bro. Yeah. Fiorentina hold an interest in Nonto. Who doesn't, right? They're actually saying here, and I don't know if this has come from. Let's have a look. This has come from Italy. Let's have a chat about it. So it says Fiorentina dream of signing Leeds United trio Nonto, Sinistera, and Melia. Let's have a look. The latest of those are Fiorentina from Serie A, but their staggering figures mean that the dream of signing them is exactly that, and it is unlikely. That's a positive. Staggering figures. Because my thing is as well, I think in Leicester there is little chat that can be approached in Leeds. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's just talking about that. But this is the thing, isn't it? Right? I said this just earlier. If players like Nonto and Melier and Adams and co had these clauses, then we'd already know. About it. I think anyway. You can hear the dog snoring there just in the background. I'm just going to have a look at this article that's come from La Nazione from Florence. I've just converted it to English. Let's have a look. Okay. In England, as we said, there are staggering figures. In Leicester, there is a little that can be approached. In Leeds, the well-known Nonto, as well as Sinistera and Melier is already worth 20 million euros. You can dream it's just a game. Among the stars. See, that's not even got legs to it. Someone's took that. They're just chatting about potential signings and saying, because they talk about Hertha Berlin, they talk about Belgium, and then they go in England. There's nothing really there from Leicester. James Ward-Prowse, but he'll cost a lot. And also Cini thingy could be players you look at, but they cost too much. This is what I mean. Sometimes you've got to read through the eyes. So he's not actually, they're not actually looking at them. It's just a bit of an opinion piece. This is the thing, isn't it? Sometimes you have to look at it, but you look at the headline. Like if you look at that one yesterday, it said Leeds United in swap deal for Amad Diallo, but when you actually looked at it, it said if Nonto leaves, Leeds could replace him with Diallo, not an actual swap deal. But that title, swap deal with, is so much more grabbing, right? Let's have a look. Being reported here. I mean, this would be good. This would be good because we should make him stay or try to. It does say here that Leeds United Cody Drama could see Premier League transfer blocked as Christensen exit emerges. Let's have a look again. I think it's look, this is the piece. Demazio advanced stage. So we'll probably hear. I think Andrea said there is a deadline on Wednesday or Thursday for the Rasmus deal. Yeah, there we go. Look, the player has given his approval. He's keen on it. I'm just seeing if there's actually any credible, or is it just a case of this player saying, this journalist writing, well, that means they'll want to keep him. Drama has long been linked with an instant return to Luton after helping the Hatters, but fellow Premier League newcomers Burnley have also been linked with his signature. Listen, I know this might upset a lot of people, but for Cody Drama, maybe not Luton, and no disrespect Luton, but going to Burnley under Vincent Kompany, it's quite an attractive prospect now. Now, I'm not giving Vincent Kompany loads of flowers because prior to his move to the chat, he didn't do a good job. He never really worked out at Anderlecht. I remember Kamaru saying that he was at Anderlecht at the time, but Kamaru said that Vinny was a better coach than Bielsa. I remember what you say. You crazy, man. He was at the club at the time, though. Gordon said, I'm feeling quite excited, especially if we get Farkin. It'll be nice to see some good football and some wins. That's one thing. We'll see some good football, but it depends on the playing personnel. Yeah, Josh, they might have Connor Roberts, but again, you need a bigger squad, and Cody's a very good player, and I do know they hold an interest, right? But it doesn't really say anything. Look, I'd like it to be Ayling and Drama next season. In the in the Championship, but whether or not we can keep him is a different matter. We'll have to wait and see. Look, it has been very quiet from the journalist. Obviously, the YEP did the piece earlier on. I don't know if that was sort of like preordained, something like that was already going to happen, but we haven't seen anything. Maybe they're on some, not, what is it called, a blackout or non-disclosure agreement or something. I can't remember what they call it, but they find out before us, don't they? And then the press are given a time that they can release it. But I don't know what's actually happening with the EFL. I mean, I wish we had contacts like that we could speak to, or NDA, that's it. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on the EFL at all. No, I did reach out to Norwich City TV the other day to give us the lowdown on Fark, but they didn't get back to me, which was a bit pushed, but that's okay. I have got an exciting pod coming in the new year as well, or in the new season. We'll still have the final word, etc. But I want to do as many content as possible. You'll have Oppo previews, you'll have reviews, you'll have watch-alongs of Leeds United and other teams, including Premier League. We'll also be doing another podcast that I'm quite looking forward to putting together. So yeah, just waiting for names and that to be confirmed, and then that's going to start as well, be like a weekly thing. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to ram on the content for sure, because the dream is to be doing this full time one day soon. But yeah, listen, that's it for news up to this point. Hopefully we'll hear something, and if we do, I'll be back live as well. I don't work Mondays. Tell me why I don't work. Yeah, that's who I was talking to, Russ. But they didn't get back to me, mate. So I tried, but it's what it is. I'm always trying to put content out that people will want to watch. You know me. Listen, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. And if any more news happens, I don't work Mondays, tell me why. I don't work Mondays, tell me why. Don't work Mondays, tell me why. Don't work Mondays, tell me why. I want to shoot the whole day down. That there is the Boomtown Rats, if you know that. I always tell this story as well. Do you know why it's called I Don't Like Mondays? Does anybody know? Do you know? Does anybody know? So basically, this lass went to a school in America and shot a load of kids, basically. And then afterwards, they asked her why she did it. And she said, I don't like Mondays. That's why she said. And she was only a young lass. And that was the reason. And that's why it says, I want to shoot the whole day down. Yeah, that's a mad one, isn't it? But yeah, listen, bit of trivia for you there. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the other side. Hopefully some more news comes out in a couple of hours and we'll chat about it, because I'm here. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon, hopefully, when Leeds United maybe give us something. Just give us something, little something. I don't know. Yeah, well, rad music. You can actually do a video on that, can't you? There you go. Peace out.